Video from our sister station, WKRG, shows what appears to be the defensive coordinator, Adam Helms, shoving and taking off a player's helmet before head football coach Drew Gilmer made an obscene gesture with his hips toward a player who was on the ground. That's what it appears to show. Now, in a clip from a separate practice, Gilmer is then seen apparently running toward a player and snatching his helmet off as that player falls to the ground. According to WKRG, sources claim that these two incidents led to the coaches being placed on administrative leave. CBS 42's Sydney Spencer joins us live in Hoover. Sydney, you've been talking to a few people in that community. Now that this video is out, what are they saying about it?
Yeah, well, Sherry, I talked to some people on and off camera, many of them telling me that they are shocked and upset following the news.
I felt that mama bear come out. I was like, I was like, what is he doing? As soon as I saw him push him down, I was like, no.
Hoover resident and mother of two young sons, Ruth Hamilton, says the video is unsettling despite the aggressiveness of the sport.
I know the consequences of, those kind of actions. You can't lay your hands on anybody, much less students.
Dale Jackson here for Yellowhammer Now, and it looks like we're doing that thing that we love to do. We like to look at something, get a couple seconds of video, and then make a bunch of conclusions about what happened there, what the intent was, and what should go down. Now, Hoover's high school football team has some of their coaches that have been put on leave while they investigate what went down because there's a video of one of the coaches taking a helmet off of a player and humping his head. Now, any of us who have been adult men or teenage men know that this is a sign of playfulness and dominance. And I'm sorry, I have a hard time getting worked up about this and calling for the head of the coach. The other scene where he forcefully pushes a player down while yanking his helmet off, I don't see that as a problem either. Do we know what the game of football actually is anymore? Do we understand this? If he's putting these players at risk, at danger, yeah, I'll have a conversation about this. But this kind of tomfoolery, no, I don't think so. But there are a lot of people that disagree, like Scott Griffin, someone I used to work with.
Football calls for some aggressive coaching, whether it's raising your voice or grabbing a face mask or getting them fired up to do what you want them to do. But when you start physically pushing players over, ripping helmets off, or doing whatever that is going on that caused the suspension, then that's a problem.
Griffin says with kickoff nearly 2 weeks away, time will only tell how this affects the Bucks football season and how the players will bounce back from this.
They do have to get this situation rectified, and it needs to be quick and clean and in a hurry. And if that's the case, I just don't see how the coaches can keep their jobs after this. That's just my opinion.
I always find this take interesting from people inside the media, that the person has to be fired for a mistake. Because if we held ourselves to that same standard, and a lot of people want to, there'd be a lot of times where a lot of us would be fired. And let's just assume that we admit that this is a mistake and he shouldn't have done this because, by golly, this isn't how young men are supposed to be raised. Do we still need to ruin the guy's life with a firing? Is that really the appropriate thing to do here? I don't think that it is. This is a bit of an overreaction. I understand that some of us in the media feel like we have to take these positions and we have to have this fatalism about us that if someone does something wrong, they have to be removed. Is there like some evidence that something actually bad happened here and not just some horseplay and nonsense? Is there more to this story? Because if there is, let's hear about it. But I don't think we need to call for the head of a coach because there are two videos. One where he's screwing around and another where he's being forceful with a player. This is probably good for the kids to understand that this stuff is okay to happen in the real world. We don't need to look at every single event and say, this is the thing that's going to define their entire life, especially when it's horseplay. Let's be a little bit more realistic. Let's be a little more understanding, and let's not be so ridiculous that we want to destroy people's lives over what at worst is a lapse in judgment. And outside of all these other problems that could potentially be out there, which we obviously are not seeing, if this is it, this is not worth a firing.